I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. I am with Nick Freadreacea, the owner of the Flooring Gallery. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here, and we were here about a year ago, I guess it was.
No, we like people to come back.
And had a great, and it's, it's a great store. We've been shooting some video in your store. You have graciously allowed us to do that, and we really appreciate that. Let me ask you first up, just so everybody is aware, talk about your operation and how it's changed.
Well, like everybody, our stores have kind of grown, went down through the recession, growing back up as business comes back. We've upgraded virtually all of our locations over the last couple of years to kind of meet the needs of what's happening in the market. And you can probably tell from even looking around our showroom, a lot more hard surface than we had before. We've changed our manufacturer alliances a little bit, and you see how those have grown. There's some new players in the market. We brought in some new products that weren't here. In this industry, if you don't change every year to 2 years, you're falling behind because product changes that often and styles change, and you got to always update.
No, I should say you have 4 locations.
5 actually. We have
5.
We have 5.
And
We're
and where's the
Louisville,
newest?
Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Madison, Indiana, and up in Columbus, Indiana.
Okay.
So,
And that's the newer one since a year ago.
right.
Okay. Well, so are we going to see some more? If I'm here in a year from now, are we going to see another one?
I would like to say so. I will tell you that if you'd been here 3 years ago, I'd have said, no, I have no plans for more. Now, the sun has come back out again. The economy is a lot better. You know, everyone thinks of expanding. Or a year from now, there may even be another brand attached. Our eyes are always open and looking at the new things that are out there in the market.
Give us just a hint of what that might mean.
There are just different. I don't want to get into too much because I haven't made any decisions. But there's different streams. There's different ways to take things to market. You know, this store definitely shoots from middle to higher end, and but I think there's more openings for value customers and.
So maybe a cash and carry of some ilk.
Could be something like that next year. Yes.
I got you. Just a wild guess. The sun is out. Things are better. Talk about 2014 up to this point.
You know, knock on wood, 2014 actually has been very good for us. We're considerably up over where we were this time last year. I know that's not the case everywhere across the United States. The winter definitely drug out a lot of my friends to the north, and they had a slower start. We had a pretty light winter as far as the amount of snow that we get. It was very cold, but builders were still able to start things, get things going. So the builder new construction side of our business really got a good start to the year, and retail has been robust for the first half. I hope the second half is even better. You know, we don't have that crystal ball, but I think we're going to feel very good about 2014.
We've been shooting in here for 2 days, and it's been people in and out the whole time.
We are not experiencing that midsummer lull. It's incredible. I hope it continues on. You know, a lot of times in the middle of summer, a lot of people take vacations, other things happen, and you see a bit of a dip in the retail business. The builder's strong, but the retail slows down. There's been no slowdown at all this year.
Let me ask you about this recovery as compared to recoveries in years past. Can you see differences or similarities?
I think there are more differences than there are similarities before. I've been in business for a long time, as you know, more than a lot of places stay in business. We never saw one as deep as this. We never saw it hurt as much as this one did for a lot of good companies. Really had difficult times. I would like to see slow, steady improvement over the next 5 years, and that'd be good from forever, you know, after. It's a little faster than we thought it was going to be, really. I think it's come back a little better than we thought it would, truthfully.
So we're seeing pent-up demand? Is that what you think we're seeing? I mean, it's
been
a long time with a lot of old floor covering that needed to be changed, I guess.
You know, there are people that haven't done anything to their homes since 2007, 2008. Even if they were going to put it on the market, they didn't want to put any money into their house, and they didn't sell their homes. Existing homes are selling, new homes are being built. Still not a lot of entry-level builder going on. I don't think the first-time buyer has even come back into the market yet, or at least we're not seeing it in the markets that we're in through Kentucky, Southern Indiana. But the middle and upper end builder is definitely back. There are people that haven't spent money for 4 or 5 and 6 years, that are out buying, and those people are buying nicer things, bigger homes.
Now, you had mentioned that newer products in here, more hard surface, new alliances, different alliances with suppliers. Talk about that need and talk about the whys behind some of the changes.
You were here about just about a year ago
Yeah.
right now, and we talked about soft and how soft carpet had really starting to take over some of the things on the soft surface side. If anything, that's grown even stronger and even bigger than it was a year ago. Soft has taken over even into our builder business with the upgrades and things. I mean, we're seeing things that just weren't even here a couple of years ago at that price point. You know, it started at the higher end. Patterned carpet, you know, we mentioned before, is still just huge for us and growing bigger all the time. So the specialty items on the side of carpet have grown quite a bit. Hard surface, the wide width planks, the luxury vinyl tiles and luxury vinyl plank, just exploding for us. I mean, we stock some of those, and you can't ever keep enough. It's flying out here. And 7 years ago, there wasn't even such a thing to talk about. So
Yeah.
it's just a constant evolution and change. Digital photography, the realism of some of the ceramic tiles, the way they digitally print rather than screen print, they're beautiful.
Now, they tell me that somewhere close to 90% of people spend time on the internet scoping out floor coverings, getting an education. Do people come in and ask for, say, LVT? You've got some right behind you. Or do they come in and say, wow, that's nice. What is that? I'd like that.
People do more research on the internet than they ever have. And the pace of that is changing faster than we can really even keep up with right now. I mean, you know, you'll have everything. Some people come in with a folder and they'll pull it out and they'll have all the things they've downloaded. And at times that is very helpful. At other times, you have to completely start over because, you know, you always hear just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Well, there's so much on the internet now, and really a lot of people get confused on what's on there. But other things, Pinterest, Houzz, sites like that, I mean, people put together a whole portfolio and plan their own before they even come in sometimes. And those things, truthfully, are pretty helpful. You know, anything that gets the consumer thinking about doing something
Yeah.
to their house, and they can visualize it. So many people show a visual. Having a Pinterest page, when they come in and say, I pinned this, and I pinned this, and I like this, and a friend recommended that, I think it's a big help to us. I think it
So it
stimulates
gives you a good
customers.
head start
It does.
and I guess saves you asking a whole lot of questions, I suppose.
Well, it gives you, sure gives you a place to start. It gives you a direction to go,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, they tell me that the big box players are spending an awful lot of money trying to do a better job at really taking market share from guys like you. They also tell me that it's very likely that Amazon's doing a good job and is going to do an even better job and potentially doing the same thing the big box players are. What that means is when you have a declining chance to even show up on the first page because you have all these other people with the deep pockets that are trying to bump you off that first page, which is, you're invisible, I guess, if you're not on the first page.
True.
Talk about that and talk about your attitude towards that.
Well, your attitude is you have to play in that field now. There isn't any question. You know, if you're a person that says I don't personally go on the internet to look for things and I'm not concerned about that, you're kidding yourself. That's not the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
whenever anyone, even within our own company, asks something that I don't know, the first thing I do is Google it to get an answer.
Yeah.
You know, you can be an expert in 35 seconds sometimes. We've got to expect our customer to do exactly that same thing. We're working with the company right now to redo our website and try to help with our CEO and better search engine optimization and be on that front page. We luckily are on the first page in all the markets that we're in. It's something, you know, you have to shop yourself. A floor covering dealer has to go on their own website and see where they're popping up and what they're doing. My Internet Explorer is set that every morning when I open my computer, it goes to our homepage. That's my homepage of the computer, so I see my website every day. I think everybody should. It will amaze you if you travel around and talk to other dealers. I'm like, have you been on your own website and looked at
Yeah.
yours? And they're like, well, I never go on my own website. Why would I?
And search
You have
your
to.
site
And
every
search
day.
your site.
They tell me that because the algorithms are changed so often at Google, for example, you know, one day you could be on the first page and the next day not.
You know, Google's been so successful because they keep changing the game.
Yeah.
And if you don't change, you know, they change the rules, you got to figure out what the new
Yeah.
rules are to play the game. And if you don't constantly do that, you can fall behind pretty fast. You can think you have a great website, not look at it in 6 months and find out you're the 4th page.
Yeah.
And
You
you're
know, they
gone.
tell me millennials, you know, look on the internet for everything. I mean, I'm certainly the farthest thing from a millennial, and I do that. You know, these people are, you know, to the nth degree past me, and probably you too. They make those decisions by what they see when they put in a Google search. And as I mentioned, Home Depot and Lowe's spend an awful lot of time on local Google searches, showing up first on laminate, hardwood, carpet, you name it, and everything else as well. Most of these millennials don't even think of an independent retailer. It's not in their vocabulary. What that means is you've got to say a whole lot of things about the flooring gallery quickly, differentiate yourself, and get it in their mind before they click that mouse. That's a challenge.
It is, and I think every retailer today, the marketing that they do that's not on the internet, and I think you have to market the internet itself with keywords and all
Yeah.
the things that are involved, but we do a lot of top of mind awareness advertising. We brand a local station in Louisville, and it's every time they come on and do their station, it's the flooring gallery at the Max FM 102.3. So you keep your name out there so much that millennials are at least used to hearing about you when they
Yeah,
think flooring.
yeah.
They think that, and you have to do everything to drive things to your website. You know, I think a lot of people, if you pull up that first page, you know how there's always 2 or 3 paid at the very top.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of people skip those paid ones at the top because they know they're paid. And then they're going to look at the very next thing that's there under that. As long as you're in that group of the actual organic search, if you will,
Yeah.
I think that gives you a good shot. But you've got to do things to drive people to your website the more they go. And you got to be cognizant of the Better Business Bureau and how your ratings are and how their store locators do. Angie's List. You know, if you and I would have had this conversation 3 or 4 years ago, we wouldn't have talked about the Angie's List of the world. And what's that, $1 billion company now?
Something like that.
You know, it's you've got to be there.
And you're on Angie's list.
We are in all the markets that we're in. We're there in all the
I
markets
see.
we're in.
But, you know, the thing, most floor covering, independent floor covering retailers are really totally different from the big box players. Even the ones that aren't maybe at the top of the heap are still a whole lot different. But telling your story, it's incumbent on you to tell your story in a flash. Why you're better, why your people are more talented, why your selection is better, etc. Why your service is better. Saying that quickly and effectively, that's a challenge.
It is very tough.
How do you even do that?
It is very tough. Well, again, it always changes. And anything good that sets you apart at all from the boxes or even your other competitors and things, you have to jump on that and take advantage of those things.
Mm-hmm.
We were lucky enough. We were just voted the best place to purchase flooring in Lexington, Kentucky.
Really?
The local newspaper did one of those where, you know, they always find out what's the favorite restaurant and what's
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
things. And they included floor covering stores this time. As far as I know, it's the first time they've ever included floor covering stores. You know, if you get something like that, that's got to be part of your story, because if it's a millennial and they're thinking, I'm going to drive to a big box, or they happen to hear this place was voted by readers as the best place, that resonates with them. They listen to those kind of things. That's almost like a
Yeah.
recommendation or a
So you're doing something
testimonial.
right.
Well,
know?
you have to.
For sure.
And you got to work and do those
Yeah.
things. And you got to get that message out there quick, and then all of a sudden you make that a part of everything you do for a while. And trust me, everyone is going to hear, we were voted the best place to buy flooring in Lexington, Kentucky. You know, if you don't have something to differentiate, and you got to do a lot of things to ever get to that point, obviously, but anything like that, it just means more than it used to.
How has your whole advertising approach changed because of the value you place on the internet?
You know, you give up some things to get some other things. You know, we quit as soon as we felt Yellow Pages were dying because of Google, we got out of Yellow Pages. You take that money and you divert it to something else. That's when we started branding ourselves with one of the radio stations that was fit our demographic the best. When cable got so diluted with so many channels, there was so much. A lot of people do great with cable, but we took the money and went to just strictly broadcast and did it around local news. So we felt at least people from this area were watching the local news. Broadcast media has gotten tougher because we have cable companies here, we have DirecTV, we have Dish TV, it goes on and on and on with the way people even receive television. If you place your commercials with some, it doesn't go to all the other places. So we had to go to broadcast and news, because then all those people show the news, local channels, and all the same commercials are there. So you just constantly have to keep moving. You just have to adapt and keep your name where you think you can get the most people out there. It's
How do you
tougher.
keep on top of all that? I mean, especially in all these markets. That's
Watch your show.
There you go. Well, that explains it then.
I do. I'm an information junkie. The hardest thing about being my age and having this much experience is being my age and having that much experience. Literally, you got to keep taking things out of your toolbox so you can add more things in there, because I might have had a great idea 10 years ago. It would be the worst possible thing that we could do today.
Yeah.
And for anyone who's been in business a long time, that's the key. Don't do what you did 10 years ago or 5 years ago. You got to have younger people constantly. If you have children, watch how they do things. My son, you know what a smoker is, where you can cook meat all day and have a smoker and all that? He wanted a certain apple wood for something he was doing. You know where he brought apple wood in to put in his smoker? Amazon delivered a box of apple wood firewood to his house. Now, would you have ever dreamed you could buy firewood on Amazon? I got to find a way to catch that kid's attention when they need floor covering.
Yeah.
And he's 28 years old, and he's doing the same thing other 28-year-olds are. They don't think of what lumberyard or do I go. They got an Amazon, type it in, that says we can ship you a crate of firewood, and he buys it. So
It didn't come out with a drone, did it?
it hasn't come out with the drone yet, but that's still possible. But you've got to think that way.
Yeah.
You got to think those ways. You got to think, how do I attract them?